Right. I think let's kick it off. We've got a packed schedule today, so the sooner we start, I think the better. So welcome everybody. This is the second wave of our quarterly Qlik update, and this particular session is really focused on getting the most from your QlikView investment. My name is Kevin van der Merwe. I'm the sales director at Qlik. Joining us today, hosting the session is Rainer Joubert, who's our pre-sales consultant. And we've got our MD, Adrian Rousseau, who's just going to welcome you guys and just set the stage, give you a little bit of a Qlik update, IOCA Qlik update, and then we'll get straight into the session. Over to you.
Thanks, Kev. Appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on the call this morning and making time available to spend with us. Really appreciate it. I asked Kev if I could just steal a couple of minutes at the beginning of the session. Firstly, just to introduce myself, and secondly, just to give you an update in terms of what we're doing from an IOCA Qlik perspective. So my name is Adrian Rousseau. I've taken over the role of MD within the Qlik business at the beginning of February. Just a bit of my background. So I came from a decision support background, MIS, BI, having spent a number of years in one of the big banks, doing decision support systems as well as data warehousing. And then spending a number of years in a consulting role with various companies before moving to EOH IOCO. So really my passion is around data management and how that supports decision making. And I think if the corona saga has highlighted anything, it's highlighted the need for data and being able to use data quite quickly to provide business insight to decision makers to make decisions on. So the guys that have been able to provide that information through to their management teams, their stature within the business has definitely increased. And I think it will continue to grow as we come out of coronavirus. It's definitely not going to be business as normal. I think the concept of working remotely and being data-driven from a decision-making perspective is going to continue and grow as we move forward out of this phase. So definitely, I think you guys are positioned in the right place to grow your importance within the business, and we want to enable you to do that. So just a bit of what we've done from a IOCA Qlik perspective over the last couple of months. Some of you might be aware there's been a number of changes within the Qlik landscape in South Africa over the last couple of months. And as a management team, we looked at this and we decided that we want to move to a more direct approach with customers rather than working through a partner model and just supporting partners, rather moving much closer to the customer base. So to that effect, we've changed our partnership agreement with Qlik. We're now an elite partner from a Qlik perspective. We are still the largest Qlik partner in Southern Africa. So I know that some of our competitors have used this transition to say we're exiting Qlik, the Qlik business, we're not carrying on with it. It's absolutely not true. In fact, we've invested quite heavily into the business. From a structure perspective, I've taken over the role of MD. We've brought in Peter Lindsay as the services director, and I think a couple of you might have worked with him already. And Kevin van der Merwe has taken over the role of sales director. So we've also complemented the consulting team and grown those skills quite a bit. So I think at this stage we've got some of the best skills in the Qlik landscape working for us. And that is really to grow our capacity to assist you guys with projects, to do advisory services, start looking at things like data literacy, and then taking that through into support services where we are able to support you once that project has gone live, and you may have certain questions or certain issues. So that has all been strengthened through this process. We are still selling. We're doing a fair amount of net new name business within Southern Africa and Africa. So definitely the business is growing. It is becoming stronger, and that feeds the capabilities that we've got to provide better service to you guys, the end customers. So watch out for a lot more of these sessions as we move forward over the next couple of months. We'll be spending a lot of time doing information sessions, doing guidance sessions, and hopefully when this whole Corona thing settles down, I'll be able to meet a lot of you from a face-to-face perspective to understand how we can better support your businesses. So thank you again for your time this morning, and I hope you find the session informative. Kev, anything that you want to add to that?
No, thank you, Adrian. Certainly, we've seen the benefit of the senior members of the team joining, all the experience it's brought to bear. So, looking forward to the new chapter of the Qlik business.
Perfect.
Great.
Enjoy your session.
Thank you. Right, guys, so a little bit of housekeeping before we kick it off. I would like to ask that we keep our microphones muted. We will have a Q&A session at the end. If you do have questions, please just put it in the conversation tab. You'll see on your floating menu bar, there is a conversation button there. Switch that on, and then we all can interact there. We do have people manning the chat, so we will be monitoring your questions. If there's questions outside of the scope of this particular session, we're very happy to set up a separate session with you and your team and discuss those. Also, if some additional members of your team who couldn't make this session, we will be making this recording of the session available, or we could repeat it on a Teams meeting if you wanted to take it to a broader audience. Great. So quickly on the agenda, what we're going to start off with is just give you a quick overview of the Qlik landscape. There's been many changes in the last 2 years in the Qlik ecosystem. Very exciting changes. So just a quick update there. These are some of the components we'll be discussing in future update sessions. But really, we want to focus on your existing QlikView investment today. So first of all, we'll give you some updates, what the new release of QlikView holds in. And then we really talk about some of the coexistence strategies that Qlik has put in place. How do you still get the most of your Qlik investment, and then also start looking at more modern analytics use cases like self-service, mobile, the AI capabilities that's now in the Qlik platform, etc. We'll then have a look at what's the commonalities and differences between QlikView and Qlik Sense. What's reusable? What do you need to rework? And then we'll do quite an in-depth demo around the new capabilities in Sense. And then finally, we'll talk about what commercial offers the Qlik organization has put on the table for you to either stay with QlikView, move to a QlikView, Qlik Sense, best of both worlds environment, or start migrating to Qlik Sense. And there's multiple options there, and we'll take you through those. And then we'll do a Q&A session. Great, let's kick it off. So first of all, if we look at the Qlik strategy, many of us know that Qlik has been a visualization tool. So it's really been around the technology side of it. It's really been about providing value around visualization. But the fact of the matter is, to get value out of your data investment, you need three main pillars. You need data. And that's not only the data being stored, but analytics ready data. The second is you need a good technology platform. It doesn't help you have the data sitting in a lake or a data warehouse, but you don't have the capabilities to get value out of that data. And that's really where Qlik shines, and QlikView and Qlik Sense has really been strong. But the third component is the people component. You know, if you've got great data, great technology, but your people are unable to actually use those tools, and they don't really understand data, they can't talk the language of data, and they're not comfortable and confident to work with data, the data and technology doesn't really matter. So you need all three of these components. And that's really the vision of of Qlik is to create a more data literate world by using data technology and people working together. So let's see what that looks like from a strategy point of view. So Qlik has looked at the entire value chain from raw data capture all the way through to delivering actionable insights. And it's really bolstered its product offering to help you as an organization take you through that entire value chain. So it starts off at the data side, where it's got tools that helps you capture and move data in real time. Really a modern tool in Unity that allows you to connect to multiple data sources and then create pipes and then plug those pipes into multiple landing data sources. And those could be from on-premise to cloud, on-premise to on-premise, on-premise and cloud to cloud. So you really have a great platform to move that data efficiently. So you create the pipes. Once the data lands, a lot of tools around data warehouse and data lake automation. I think 80% of the data work in BI has always been in the data space, and really now with the embedding of AI and other tools, you're really able to automate maybe 80% of that work that is required to create data-ready data stores. The next step of the data chain is to then make that data available to business users. And that's really where the data ops or the data catalogs come in. So with the acquisition of Data Catalyst, Qlik is now able to take that data and provide it in a shopping cart type environment, where as a user, you can go into a data catalog, browse the available pieces of data, being unaware of the complexity of the data underneath it. You know, it could be Excel spreadsheets, it could be Oracle databases, it could be QVD files. But as an end user, you'll simply see a single catalog of data. You pick the data bits that's important to you, and then you move those data bits on. The analytics engine, we all understand. Qlik's analytics engine is very powerful. This Qlik Associative engine that allows you to freely explore the data, multiple use cases there. And then finally, the insight part of it. Once you've done the analysis and you've got the insight, you can then deliver this data in any way that's suitable for your audience, whether it's pixel perfect reports, guided dashboards as per QlikView, governed self-service dashboards, embedding analytics into other applications or data portals, consuming that data on mobile analytics, or even talking to your data through your WhatsApp or any other platform through natural language analytics. So you can see QlikView has moved quickly, and it's moved substantially to speak to the entire data value chain. Right, so what does that mean in terms of use case? It basically, as we mentioned, whatever your use case is and whatever your user type is, Qlik platform can now speak to it. Whether it's a business user that's executive that simply wants to see the top KPI numbers in a dashboard, if it's operational workers in a factory that wants to see the key numbers that's important to them, if it's the power user or citizen scientist that wants to go and explore the data and find the underlying reasons why business is performing or not performing, predictive analytics, embedding analytics into other applications, all of the people, all of the use cases, Qlik speaks to it. And then finally, if we look at what that looks like in a product portfolio, we start right at the bottom at a data level. There we have the Data Catalyst, which we talked about, which is the data cataloging engine, and that will be rebranded to Data Catalog shortly. Qlik's Big Data Index, which allows you to actually take the associative power of the Qlik engine down to the data. Historically, what you had to do is you always had to take the data to Qlik because it's a powerful in-memory engine. But we realize now with data volumes being what they are, you now have to take that data down to the nodes of the big data engine. And Qlik's allowed that user experience that you have in QlikView and Qlik Sense to go now move into a big data environment. All of the connectors and incredible connectors, and we'll have some follow-up sessions on these connectors. Any modern platform, the Office 365 connectors, It allows you to connect to almost any data source, whether it be a social platform, traditional warehouse, or big data source. And then big data market is basically data as a service, where they've collected tons of data, put it in a platform, and you're able to subscribe to those data sources. From a platform point of view, the Qlik Associative engine remains that engine that Qlik Success is built on. And really what happened is a few years ago, Qlik decided rather than expanding QlikView's capability, to take the power of the QlikView engine and put that into a new Qlik Associative engine, which is the platform that drives all of this analytics that you see here. The next step after building this analytics engine, they then developed what they thought would be a great visualization tool in Qlik Sense on top of this engine. And how they could do that is the engine is really built on open APIs. So you're able to develop on top of that engine. The outcome of this strategy is also that anybody else that had a different vision of how they wanted to do analytics could develop their own capabilities. For example, a company saw that Qlik Sense didn't have a mass printing distribution engine, so they developed NPrinting as a reporting engine. Another company had geoanalytics use cases for its customer Volvo, and they developed geoanalytics. Yet another company had reporting, alerting capabilities requirements. So they developed ping reporting, and so on. This open source community almost developed all of these products, and now Qlik is simply able to purchase those companies and make it part of the Qlik offering, because there's no third-party integration required. It's already 100% integrated with the Qlik engine. So we see a much fuller platform, and it speaks to all of the different use cases: self-service, guided analytics, custom embedded. And really that's what we're going to look at today, how this ecosystem has gone from using the best capabilities of QlikView and really built out a modern API engine, open API engine on top of Qlik Sense. Right, so the final components, we've talked about data, we've talked about the technology component. The final component in the engine is really data literacy. And it's one of the key movements Qlik and ourselves as IOCO Qlik is driving, is to see how do we help people have the right levels of data literacy to be able to do their jobs. We're not saying that everybody needs to be a data analyst or even a data scientist, but everybody needs to have the capabilities to do their job and work with data. Data volumes and velocity is increasing daily. I think now, even with this crisis, as Adrian said, we saw that there's a massive requirement for people to be able to answer questions with data. And so really, part of that is a process where we help companies understand the current data literacy levels within the organization through online assessments and workshops. Once you understand what your data literacy of your organization is, you can then focus in on key areas and key people to say, all right, for your job, you need to be at this data literacy level. So this is the data literacy courses that you need to complete to give you the tools to be able to work with the data effectively. Right, and that's the three components: data, technology, and people that we're addressing. We actually now, with that overview, if there's any questions, please fire away in the chat box. We're now going to hand over to Reino, who's going to take you through all of the key features of the platform, and then get into a really cool demo where we go into quite in-depth there. So over to you, Reino.
Perfect. Thank you, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. So first of all, thank you for attending as well. I must apologize if you do hear some background noises. It's actually my wife cleaning our upstairs, all of the rooms. We've actually had a pipe that burst about 20 minutes before the session. So that's the beauty of working from home, I suppose, as well. You get the pros and the cons. So if you do hear some background noises, I do apologize for that. So let's kick off. So first of all, talking about the Qlik Sense features. Let's get the mouse going. Okay. So from a Qlik Sense perspective, there's three main areas that Qlik addresses from a platform and a software tool or BI tool perspective. So first of all, it's analytics for all, making sure that everyone within the organization has got access to analytics. And one of the features how we do that is obviously using the associative difference or Qlik's associative engine, having the ability to explore our data freely through the Qlik's associative engine. Secondly, having governed self-service, so having the ability to provide business users with capabilities where they can create their own dashboards, connect to data, address or change certain visualizations to their needs, but also making sure that we can provide analytics to the edge and from a centralized perspective as well. And then lastly, from a mobility and collaboration point of view. Second component is obviously data literacy through AI. Kevin spoke about the data literacy programs that Qlik is running and Ayoko is running, but also using Qlik Sense artificial intelligence component to assist us to provide us with visualizations. So having the ability to give Qlik our data and through that being able to use AI to create smart visualizations and insight suggestions for us. And also having the ability to ask natural language questions. I'll be demonstrating this in the February release of Qlik Sense. You've actually got the ability now to ask natural language questions. And then thirdly, Kevin touched on the platform component of Qlik Sense. Understand this is an enterprise BI tool and provides analytics, and it can scale from a multi-cloud architecture perspective, whether we looking at hybrid solutions on-premise, in the cloud, using AWS, Azure, GCP. Having that ability that, you know, when we want to take our data and put it in the cloud, provide it to our customers, we've got that option to do it. And also connecting to a multitude of data sets. Kevin touched on some of those. And one of the key features as well from a Qlik Sense perspective is it's an open API platform. So having that ability to create our own custom extensions, customize Qlik Sense to our needs and requirements. And we'll touch on that as well a bit later. Next is also, I mentioned about the AI component, and this is one of Qlik Sense key components, is the cognitive engine. This is what's going to drive AI, or what drives AI within Qlik Sense. So having that ability to provide automation and insight suggestions. It's got a machine learning component. So as every business user makes selections with Insights Advisor, you've got the ability to provide the machine with your feedback in terms of what dimensions, what measures you're looking at, changing your visualization. So the machine actually learns from our behavior, and you'll actually notice that every Qlik Sense application, when we start using Insight Advisor, learns from that business user. And if I'm a business user that look at averages, it's going to give me visualizations with measures with averages in. If it's someone else that looking at aggregating their data, it's going to give them measures with that. So it actually learns from our behaviors as well. And this is kind of where Qlik's unique approach comes into play. So for the listeners out there using QlikView currently, you'll know about the associative engine. That's always been Qlik's main core component. And combining it with the cognitive engine and Qlik Sense, this is going to give us a unique approach where Qlik is referring to it as AI squared, where we're using associative indexing and combining it with augmented intelligence. So from a Qlik Sense enterprise perspective, just to understand as well, what do we get when we go to Qlik Sense route? You know, what features are there? What's the key differentiators? So first of all, at no extra cost, the Qlik Geo Analytics base edition is included in Qlik Sense. This is your geo mapping capability. So having that ability to visualize everything on maps. Obviously, there is an add-on component for GeoAnalytics Enterprise, but the base version covers quite a lot of features in terms of heat maps, visualizing our maps and layering of our maps. So there's quite a lot of use cases we can just do in the GeoAnalytics base version. And then also Qlik Data Market Essentials will be included. But another key component is the visualization and dashboard bundles. Because Qlik Sense is open API, you'll find that, and if for those of you that attended yesterday's sessions, the Qlik Sense updates are extremely regular. So it happens every quarter, and you'll find with every update there might be a new visualization that Qlik's included. And what they've done is they obviously use some of the visualizations that you can download in Qlik Branch. That's quite popular, and they'll integrate that into Qlik Sense so that they can also support those extensions when you do upgrades. So that's quite a nice key feature. And for those of you that's attended yesterday's sessions with Skulk, you would have seen that there's a lot of new visualizations that's come out in the February and April release. Another key feature for the middle component, we spoke about the cognitive engine. Inside Advisor, I'll actually demo how the Inside Advisor works and using AI, but also having the ability to use Qlik Sense mobile offline, whether it's using the iOS app or the Android app. This is becoming more popular for certain use cases. Obviously, in certain industries with security, it might be a bit limited. So just be cognizant of that. And another key component that we'll touch on is the interactive storytelling and reporting. So from a collaboration point of view, having the ability to tell stories in our meetings, to do presentations on Qlik as a story, and having that ability that if someone asks us a question, that we can actually answer them by going back into the Qlik Sense dashboard or application and being able to provide the answers immediately instead of just after the meeting sending out a new report. And then lastly, from a key feature component, because it's open API, having that ability that within your organization to know that if you want to embed Qlik Sense into a website or into a portal, if you want to create your own custom application and embed Qlik within that app for an iOS app, you can do that. The capabilities are there to design your own applications and embed analytics through Qlik in those applications. And then lastly, from an architectural point of view, it's having that ability to understand that in our QlikView environment, we buy QlikView server licenses, whether it's Small Business Edition or Enterprise Edition. In the QlikView, in the Qlik Sense environment, understand you're only going to pay per user. You don't pay per server license. So you can have a multitude of virtual machines, some for front end, some for back end, some being schedulers, but you're not paying for those licenses. You'll be only paying for your user licenses, whether it's professional and analyzer licenses. And then lastly, I mentioned and touched on the multi-cloud deployments, having the ability to utilize third-party cloud vendors, as well as Qlik's cloud services, and also having that ability to create applications and put it within Docker container and containerize your applications as well from a scalability point of view. So those are kind of some of the key differentiators and features within Qlik Sense. Let's see if I can go to the next slide. Yeah. So next, just to touch on quickly because of time, is the Insight Bot. Now, we're not going to go too much into this today. There will be separate sessions in the near future about the Insight Bot, but understand you've got the ability to create a chatbot. So one of the options that Qlik has got is the Insight Bot. You can have your own chatbot within your organization or for your customers, and it's the typical natural language components where we can ask a question, it's going to give us an answer. But because there's AI built into it, it's actually going to give us a lot more insights on the chatbot as well. So it's not just going to tell us how much our sales is, it's actually going to break it down into certain components. It's going to give us a visualization in terms of a line chart or some other visualizations, and then still having the ability to go reference it back into your QlikSense application as well to find that info. But because the AI component is built in as well, you'll see at the bottom, it's actually going to give you a nice paragraph and break down that simple question of how's my sales doing, and actually breaks it down into maximum peaks, minimum peaks, which regions are doing better than other regions by utilizing AI. So please look out for those demos and webinars coming in the near future regarding this as well. And then lastly, another component just to touch on is NPrinting. This is the static reporting or burst reporting. So for the business users out there that cannot, or from a budget perspective, we can't give them the analytics yet, whether it's in QlikView or QlikSense. You can provide reports. You create a template, connects to QlikView dashboards, it connects to the QlikSense dashboards, and you can schedule your reports, whether it's a daily sales report or weekly sales report or a quarterly report, and it could be an invoice even. It's that having that ability with NPrinting that we can take whatever the data we have within our associative engine within Qlik and actually put it into reports and send it out to thousands of users. So what is the key component and to understand the coexistence between QlikView and QlikSense? And we'll quickly touch on that as well, because it's quite important to understand that a lot of our customers and some of you on the line, you're already using QlikView to understand what will happen or how will QlikSense coexist, QlikSense and QlikView. So first of all, understand that obviously you've got your QlikView server, whether it's Small Business Edition or Enterprise Edition. For those of you running Enterprise Edition, you'll have QlikView Publisher perhaps. If we look at the QlikSense world, we're going to be talking about QlikSense engines and QlikSense scheduler instead of the publisher. Now, the key component, again, as I mentioned, is we can scale the engines and the schedulers out to multitudes of virtual machines, and also we don't have to license those QlikSense engines or schedulers. From a basic perspective, if we go back to the starting blocks, connecting to our data, which we've been doing in QlikView, creating our QVDs and our data models, and effectively or ultimately creating our QlikView dashboards. In the QlikSense world, everything stays the same except the front end. So we're going to keep our QVD files, we can reuse our QVD files, we can reuse our data models, and we're just literally going to change the front end. So from adding to that, from a platform compatibility perspective, understand that you have the possibility that you could convert between 70 and 90% of your QlikView components to QlikSense. But there is a word of caution. Please sit with the team, our SA Qlik consultants, go through the QlikView applications, the visualizations, the expressions, because there are certain components that cannot be converted like for like. So understand that there is a bit of work to be done before converting from QlikView to QlikSense, but you've got quite a broad use case where you could take a lot of your QlikView models and convert that to QlikSense as well. So it's literally just going to be the front end that we've got to focus on and make sure that we can convert most of those visualizations. Also, just for the QlikView customers out there, you might have realized that or got notifications that on Monday, the release of QlikView April 2020 was released. There's quite some key features in there. Also having the ability to run our QlikView apps on QlikSense Enterprise, whether we're using Qlik Cloud services and Kubernetes deployments. Obviously, if we go the dual use route, having that ability to license everything under a single license key. We can automate our QlikView document uploads. In the past, with the Unified Hub, you could manually upload your documents and have a link to the QlikView apps. Now you can automate that process. Another key feature for the April release is the QVD encryption. It's been available in QlikSense. It's now available in QlikView, where you can read and write encrypted QVD files, and obviously extension supports, but this is only for the QlikSense Enterprise SaaS edition. You can focus on that. So just from a basic perspective as well, just for the audience on the call, just to go back to the basics in terms of a licensing component. Understand that in your QlikView environment, you've got a named user, which could be a developer, it could be a manager that's got access to a multitude of applications, QlikView dashboards. They can design the dashboards, and then you've got your document users, obviously one license per QlikView application or dashboard. So whether it's an HR app or a sales dashboard, if that user needs to access 2 licenses or 2 dashboards, they would need 2 licenses if they are document users. In a QlikSense environment, it's a little bit different. You'll have a professional user that stays the same. Conceptually, as a named user, where you have access to a multitude of QlikSense applications. You can design your apps, use self-service components through the governed self-service items, and that's one license. And an analyzer is similar to a document user, but the difference is he's got access to a multitude of QlikSense applications. So not just one license, one app. One license in the QlikSense world for an analyzer gives them access to a multitude of QlikSense applications. So that's kind of from a licensing perspective. Obviously, do have discussions with our AEs around how the licensing works. If you are embarking on a QlikSense journey, there are some programs in terms of dual use, remix, etc., that Kevin will also talk about later. And that's it from a presentation perspective. What I will do now is I'm going to share my screen so that we can have a look at the fun stuff, which is the demo itself. So what I'll do is just 1 second. I actually want to share all of my screens. Let's do this. Okay. Perfect. So first of all, from a demo perspective, what I'm going to do is you'll see in front of you, it's what we call an iPortal. It's an impersonation portal that we use for demo purposes, just to showcase what QlikSense Enterprise will look like. In the past, it's been always very difficult that we would do all of our demos on a QlikView desktop or QlikSense desktop. This just gives us that ability to just conceptualize what the Enterprise, QlikSense Enterprise Edition looks like and feels like, and how we interact. So first of all, you'll see I've got a multitude of personas, from Amy Wilson to Jeremy Thomas to Anne Foster, different roles, different personas. But the first thing you'll see is we've got a QlikSense hub. So in a QlikView world, it's obviously access point. If you use the Unified Hub, your QlikView documents will be in the QlikSense Enterprise Hub as well. So what happens is when we log into QlikSense, the first thing we'll see is on the left-hand side, according to our permissions and our governance and security permissions, if we're a professional user, we'll have 2 components, a personal area and a streams area. The personal area gives us the ability to create our own QlikSense applications. So having that ability to create a new app, connect to data which has been given to us, and to build our own dashboards. Once we've created our own dashboards, we have the ability to publish those dashboards into our streams area that we've got access to. So again, governance and security permitted. And our rules will dictate what streams we've got access to where we can publish our own applications. So you'll see in my published area, Amy's got quite a lot of applications that she's published, and we'll go through some of those. But in the streams area, she's got access to only customer retention, everyone, IT, and monitoring apps. And in every stream, you'll see we've got some applications. So again, once you've got access to the stream, you might not have access to all of the applications or dashboards within that stream. So please take note of that as well from a security and governance perspective. So in every stream, you'll see different type of applications, and I'll actually open up one of these applications now. But just to go back, if we had to take another business user, let's say we take Ann Foster, we open up her stream or her hub, you'll see she's got a personal area, but her streams are different. So she's got an everyone stream, finance, and sales. So again, you can see governance pulling through here. If we go to, and these are professional users. So understand from a licensing perspective, I spoke about professional analyzer users. Professional user obviously creates the apps. If we look at someone else, let's take Sarah Bowers. If we log into her, you'll see she's only got streams. So literally, she doesn't have a personal area that she can connect to as well. Okay. So in this case, this is where an analyzer user has got guided analytics, similar to the QlikView world, where she can open an application, she can go through the bookmarks, the stories that I'll touch on now, but she cannot change anything from a self-service perspective. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open up my QlikSense desktop, and it's just purely because of the application that I want to showcase that's not sitting on the server. So what I've done is I've opened up the consumer goods app, and you'll see it looks a bit different already from the get-go compared to QlikView, where we've got 3 areas. We've got sheets, we've got bookmarks, and we've got stories. And I'll touch on each 3 components individually. So if I go back to my sheets, similar as in QlikView, where you've got your tabs, sheets are the same, where you're going to have all your KPIs. So as soon as I open up my QlikSense dashboard, you'll see the visualizations. They look a bit different. They're certainly a lot more animated. In that sense, if I start hovering over certain components, you'll see it's going to give me the insights in terms of the margin amount, the share percentage. If I make some selections on certain items, obviously the visualizations will change, same as in QlikView. But you'll see on top, we've got a selection component here. And again, we spoke about the associative engine, the green, the white, the gray. So in QlikView, when you make a selection of a customer, it's green. The answer in terms of a number of invoices or products bought is in white, and the gray, obviously we know that this customer hasn't bought certain items. So that same concept filters through in QlikSense as well. The nice thing about QlikSense is we can make our selections on any component, same as in QlikView, whether we're selecting horizontally or vertically. We can even type in certain ranges that we want to focus in. So you can put months in here, or if this was values, you can choose what values you want to filter into or drill into. Again, from a conceptual point of view, or just the basics, on the top, you've got a navigation button. This is where we're going to navigate through our QlikView application, the data manager, data load editor, which is the back end. And there's actually some more additional components. We can export a sheet to PDF or do other features like embed a sheet as well, which we'll touch on a bit later. We've got a smart search, similar to QlikView's search component. Again, understand, because we can connect to all of the data, we can search for all of the data. So whether it's an ID number, VIN number, and you actually see when I start typing in AT, it's given me a customer, Scientific Atlanta. We've got ship to city, whatever else. So we can say, as we can select customer Scientific Atlanta, we can search for a specific month. So let's say we want to do February 18, and what we want to focus on is maybe products. So let's focus on, let's see if we've got milk as an example. So as we make these selections, everything else will start changing. On the right hand, or in the middle, we've got a data button that obviously, this is the February release. For those of you that's seen Skalk's presentation yesterday on the Qlik Sense updates, you'll notice that the April release is a bit different, where a lot of these components have changed, where we're talking about narrate, our storytelling, our analysis is where we're going to do find our insights button. So this has changed a little bit, but conceptually it's still the same. And then obviously we've got our stories that I'll touch on now as well. On the right-hand side, two key components is the selection tool and the insights tool, which I'll get into in the next sheet as well. So I'm going to go to the next sheet. And again, just to show the interaction, we've got sales versus margin by sales rep. So we've got a scatter plot here. We can use our lasso tool to select various items and obviously move across sideways, horizontally, vertically, if we want to make some selections. Obviously, we can expand our visualizations, we can zoom into visualizations, and this is quite key when it comes to big data. You'll notice that from a big data perspective, if we've got 1 million bubbles or scatter plot items, or within this visualization, it's going to be very hard to read it. So understand that Qlik has got, from a density point of view, it actually zooms out and creates a little heat map that as we make our selection, we can drill into it until we get to a point where we can get to a lot less points on our visualization so that we can actually understand what's going on. Another key area is if I expand the average sales per day visualization, and as a business user, we might want to find some insights in terms of why is there a downward trend for the period between March to May. This might be something important that we want to investigate to find out why do we have this downward trend? Where's the stemming from? In our case, probably it's Corona, but who knows? So what we can do is we can make our selection for the 3 months. On the top right-hand side, you'll see there's a selection button. And I'm going to select that button. And it's going to take me to the back end where it actually shows us a lot of our dimensions that's been tied to this dashboard. But also on the right-hand side, we've got the associative insights. And you'll see there's this little circle spinning up. And this is actually AI. We spoke about the associative engine or the cognitive engine that's spinning up in the background. And the beauty about this now is that in the QlikView world, we've been using the green, the white, the gray. The gray area has always been extremely important for a lot of organizations because it gives us insights into which regions we're not selling into, which customers haven't bought from us, which products we haven't sold. It actually gives us valuable, tangible information that's with other BI tools is excluded. So that gray area is powerful. And what Qlik has done is they've actually gone and tied the AI or component into this as well. So what we can do is if I select that button, immediately AI is going to kick in. And that's what it's done is it's selected all of a measure called margin amount. Obviously, I can give it feedback and say, I don't want to look at margin amount. I want to look at something else. But the machine has selected margin amount. And if I scroll down, we can see insights from excluded values. So we've got 5 states out of 49 that's been excluded. We've got 5 areas that's been excluded. But here's a key component. There's 39 customers that out of 347 that's been excluded. I can select that component immediately. What Qlik is doing is it's telling us that those 39 customers contribute 813,000 rands to our margin amount. So what it's actually done is it's scanned all of the data, looked at those excluded customers, and actually put a value of the potential losses we could gain going forward because these customers aren't buying from us. So what we can do now is we can say, well, if we scroll down, reveal the data from those excluded customers or values. And now we can see, traditionally in our QlikView world, we would see those customers, but now it's also giving us the values that those customers have bought from us in the past and what margins we potentially could lose in the future if we don't do something about this issue. And so that's one way of actually using AI to actually give us some insights. We can take it a step further where we can select those excluded customers, those 39 customers. And we can take it a step further where on the right-hand side, we've got an insights button that I can select as well. And I want to use my insights advisor to do two things. One is to give me some insights regarding these customers. And we can also do this, and we spoke about the data literacy through AI. So once we give Qlik data, it can visualize the data for us, and it's actually going to use the AI component. So what we can do is we can click on Generate Insights, and for that selection of the 39 customers, the machine will actually start producing some visualizations for me. And it might be, we can see sales quantity, might not be relevant. We've got some bar charts here, but we've got a comparison of average sales margin, which is a scatter plot, which I can actually extend. So what the machine has done is, according to my selection, according to my data, it's created a scatter plot for me, comparison of average sales, margin amount, sales quantity, and total shipment that we can actually use. And we can make selections on these as well if we want to, and you'll see the selections will change. But here's the interesting part. So I mentioned earlier on that we can give the machine feedback and it will learn from our behaviors as well. So if I edit this visualization, you'll see it's taken dimension product, it's taken the measures average sales, margin amount, sales quantity, and total shipments. It even gives us details how it classified the data for us to get to this visualization. So what I can do as a business user is I might not be interested in average sales. I might want to see actual amounts. So immediately, if I change that, you'll see my visualization changes. I can close this visualization, or I can say I want to add this visualization to a new sheet that I want to look at later. So I can say, well, add this visualization to a new created sheet for me. And it's added it. I can close this visualization. And also an interesting part, you'll see you've made changes to this chart. Insight Advisor can learn from these changes. And I can click on it and say, please learn from this. So this is the machine learning component taking my inputs and actually, as we go, as I use this app more and more, if it creates visualizations for me, it's going to give me visualizations on actual amounts because it's learning from my behavior. Okay. What we can do as well is if I clear my selections and I can clear the results. Another key component in the February release that came out now in Qlik Sense is we can actually start asking it specific questions. So as an example, we can say which customers bought, let's say, flavored drinks as an example. So you'll see it actually picks up the keywords, but I'm going to make it more complex, and cheese. So I want to focus on which customers have bought flavored drinks and cheese. And I'm actually going to get the machine, and you'll see what it's done is it's taken a criteria, master dimension customer, drinks and cheese. It says unable to find a match, but it actually did, because if I scroll down, no, it actually didn't. Interesting. Okay, so it doesn't find flavored drinks and cheese. So let's take one step back. Let's just use flavored drink. Because my spelling, and cheese. It should pick it up now. Yeah, There we go. So it's obviously, it's focusing on flavored drinks and cheese. And the matching result immediately, it tells us the values of all of those customers. So we can see these are the customers that bought the combination of flavored drinks and cheese. If I scroll down, I've even got average sales by customer. In this case as well, I might give it feedback and say, I don't want average sales, I want actual sales. So this is one way where we can start asking and using Qlik with natural language to start asking questions. So you can see I've asked another question just because of time. Which customers has bought cheese and donuts? I can ask another one, which sales reps has the highest margin percentage, as an example, just to use that as a question, and you'll see it's going to find the keywords and it's going to start giving me visualizations that I can actually incorporate and embed into my sheets. So as an example, I'm just going to add this one to the new sheet that I've created. So if I go into, you'll see it's called new sheet. I can click on it and you'll see there's those two visualizations that I've used AI with. If I start making selections, you'll see everything is still linked, everything will change accordingly. Okay. So that's one way of using AI to our advantage. Another key component just to touch on is storytelling. So I mentioned earlier, having the ability to present to our audience, but also provide answers on the fly. So if someone says to us, how did you get to a specific number? Why is the sale so low? You can actually go back into QlikSense and show them how you got to those numbers. So how would we create these stories? First of all, is that when we make our selections, you'll see that I've got a little camera that says take a snapshot. So we can start taking snapshots, we can annotate it, and I can just say sales of products as an example. Annotated, okay? We can take various snapshots on various sheets as an example. So I'm just going to take one more snapshot. Let's say we take the margin percentage, okay? If I go back to my story, you'll see there's one already, but I'm actually going to create a new one. And the idea behind this is, as I mentioned, we're creating PowerPoint presentations. So you can have images in it. You're going to create a PowerPoint deck in QlikSense. So as a starting point, I'm going to create a new sheet. You'll see on the right-hand side, I've got my snapshot library. The key here is it shows me today's snapshots and it shows me all the snapshots I've taken in the past. So, which is quite key as well and quite handy. So what we can do is, as an example, I'm going to start dragging and dropping some visualizations in here just to build something quickly. Go back to a snapshot. Let's just take one more. Okay, this one I've got, so let's take another one. What am I doing? Sorry, guys. This is the one I need. Okay, so I've taken 2 snapshots. Let's rather take an old one. Let's take this visualization we've got here, just to show this is an old snapshot we've taken. And the key is, obviously, you can add titles, whatever the case is. I'm not going to do that now for sake of time. If I click on play, you'll see that I can go into my slides. I can hover over my selections. It's actually going to give me the same components and the insights. But the key is, if I right click and I say go to source, so someone says, as an example, how did we get to a 45% margin percentage for frozen vegetables? It should be 60% as an example. So we can say, okay, well, let's have a look at it. If I click on go to source, you'll see immediately it takes me into that visualization. We can focus on it and we can see where we've got sales variances here. So this could be an issue, but we can answer immediately that question. And I can go back into my story. So as an example, to show you, if I go to this fresh produce here, you'll see it takes me into that with a different field selection as well. So this is the beauty about stories. It's interactive, we can use it. In our meetings, we can give answers. We can take it a step further where we can even embed a specific sheet. So let's say we take the sales and we can embed that. So if I click on play, so even in my presentation, while I'm going through my visualizations, you'll see that I can start making selections while I'm presenting. So I don't actually have to go back into my QlikSense dashboard to show management or the audience what we're looking at. And then obviously we've got a go to sheet button as well that takes us into it. So that is stories. It's extremely powerful, extremely useful. Understand that every person that's got access to the QlikSense dashboard will have access to the stories. You can create your own stories and publish the stories to the community so everybody else can see it as well. If you don't publish it, obviously they won't have access to it. But the key thing again is we can export it to PowerPoint, we can export the story to PDF. Okay, which is quite handy as well if we need to send this story to someone important, as an example. So that's QlikSense in a nutshell. Just to show some more features as well, we spoke about the geoanalytics base version that's included in QlikSense. So what I'm going to do now is just open up another QlikSense dashboard, which is a census app. Of course, the data is old. We're not on, I wish we were on 46 million as a population, but we're a lot more than that. But it just, the idea behind here is to show that we've pulled data in, and then again, we're going to start visualizing it. But now we can visualize it on a map. So as an example, if I select Gauteng, you'll see it's going to start zooming into Gauteng. That drill down effect that we're going to go into municipalities, so we can focus on the city of Johannesburg. And as we zoom in, you'll start seeing we can go down even to street level, as an example. Beauty about this is we've got a multitude of use cases. I'll actually show another application here, depending on how quickly the internet works with me. But as I start zooming in, we're going to start seeing street addresses or street names. We can really zoom in to street level. And there's a multitude of use cases here, whether we're a bank and we want to use it for our branches, our ATMs, or we're a retail store that we want to look at where our stores are, and also link it to where our customers are from a demographical point of view. Because we're using our CRMs and ERPs, we can take our customers' addresses, we can plot those addresses with latitude, longitude, or if we've got the enterprise version, we can go down to street level, plot our customers, plot where our branches are, our ATMs are, our stores are, and actually start looking at traveling distances, traveling times, whatever the case is. There's a multitude of use cases. We've got customers using this in mines. We've got customers using geoanalytics in buildings where they incorporate CAD files and using building information. Airports are using it for movement of people connecting to Wi-Fi hotspots, as an example. You'll even see there's a Find My Location button. Obviously, it's not connected to the, I've disabled my location settings. But if I actually, we can do this. If I go to my local host here, we should be able to enable it on the internet. So let's just run it from here. Just open up the app. And the idea behind it is, and Skalk actually showed this in a demo yesterday, is if we use our location settings, and you'll see it's actually found my location now through the internet. It will start slowly, depending on the internet, show where we are. The key behind this is that we can use this for a multitude of use cases. So having that ability to use Find My Location, obviously my internet is a bit slow now, it's taking strain, but as it starts appearing, you'll see it. Another example is we're using it, geoanalytics, in the healthcare industry as well. So I just want to see if I can quickly open up one of the maps. Let's just see if I can show you a heat map quickly, depending how quickly the internet goes. If there are business users out there, please understand the geoanalytics-based version is included. So you can play around with this in Qlik Sense. Obviously, the geoanalytics enterprise gives us more functionality from a routing perspective. I'm just waiting for it to appear. There we go, it's slowly appearing. But again, if you think about it, if we look at what COVID-19 and the use cases in America, all of the positive cases and amount of deaths, this map, if we had that data, this would be a completely different picture. But this just shows us the ability that we can start mapping information in geoanalytics as well. Okay, so that's geoanalytics in a nutshell. Just one more use case before we go to questions is we spoke about embedding Qlik for a multitude of use cases, whether it's in a portal or into a website. Now, how we would do that, first of all, is I'm actually going to use an example of my Dev Hub just to show everybody, because we're talking about open API. Qlik is an open API platform, and having the ability to embed our visualizations into an app or into a website, or create even our own extensions. So in Qlik Sense, we've got a Dev Hub. You'll see there's an extension editor. If you're a Java developer or a C# developer or a good coder, you have got the ability to create your own extensions. You'll see I've got Mashup Editor, which we can utilize to connect to a website. So as an example, I'm going to create a project. I'm just going to call this Demo 1. I'm going to create, you can import your own templates. Let's just take a great Mashup template. I'm going to click on Edit. And now we've got the ability to select our Qlik Sense apps. So whatever we've created, you'll see the consumer goods app that I've demoed today. That .qvf file is there. I've connected to the server. I'm going to look at those visualizations. And the beauty is I can start dragging and dropping. So as an example, I can take the scatter plot, can drag and drop that. I can take the KPI dashboard, put a title in there. Let's just take one more margin amount, and let's just take another KPI, drag and drop that. Because we've created these visualizations at Qlik Sense, we don't have to reinvent the wheel and recreate them. You actually see there's HTML code, there's JavaScript code. The web developers can just copy this code into their websites and embed these visualizations. You'll see if I click on View, it's going to open up a demo.1 HTML page, and you'll see our visualizations will appear on this page. Works exactly the same. I can make my selections. Everything will start changing accordingly. And again, this is embedding it into HTML, and that's the beauty about Qlik, the power of Qlik Sense, is having that ability from a multitude of use cases, that whether we're using Qlik Sense internally or exporting it or putting it into a website or into a mashup, we've got that ability. Another example where, as a use case, just to show everybody, is I've got Moody's, the risk bench calculator. Moody's is one of our customers, and they've actually gone, and I'm just going to fast forward this a little bit. They've gone and embed Qlik Sense as part of their risk bench platform. So, and they're selling this as a service to their customers. So this is opening up the world for a lot of organizations that, depending on your use case, you might at some stage decide you want to use your analytics and provide a service to your customers. And this is how you can do it. Okay. One last example that I'll just quickly open up is if I go to my CIO dashboard, just to show everybody that we can even embed Qlik where it doesn't really look like Qlik. The visualizations will look like it, but there's no Qlik logos, you'll see this is a platform that's, and these links are readily available for anyone on this call. It's a public website, and you'll see we can, we can select our customer services tab, and you'll see everything's going to start changing. But as soon as I start making selections on my visualizations, you'll see this is Qlik Sense. So as an example, if I highlight this, you'll see those exact same components are there. So from a visualization point of view, we can change our sheets into different components. We can cycle through these, but also you'll see we've got an embedded item here, and we can focus on our open statuses, and you'll see everything will start changing. And this is how we can embed without our customers even knowing they're using Qlik in the background. We've got 15 minutes left. I'm actually going to stop the demo here, and let's just open it up for some Q&A. If there's any questions, we can quickly tackle that now. Kevin, have you seen any questions on the chat site?
Hi, good morning. This is Safia from Personal Loans Department. I just want to find out, can I set up a separate session with you, Kevin, to take our BI guys through this presentation, because none of them are on this meeting?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be happy to repeat this session to a community within your organization. I think the first step is obviously for the key users and the owners of BI within the organizations to just upskill and get the knowledge of how Qlik has transformed. And then, it's up to you just to reach out to us, and then we can customize the message to your community and deliver the right message to them. So please do reach out to us, and we'll get that set up.
I'll be in touch with you, Safia.
Hi.
Hi, Safia. It's Mandy.
Hi, Mandy. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
Great.
I will be in contact with you to set up that session.
Okay, cool.
Okay. Is there any other questions?
I've got well, I'll prompt a question. So obviously a lot of the people on this call has had huge benefit from the QlikView platform. I think QlikView was quite revolutionary in the way that it dealt with data, how it made data available to business users, and how it allowed people really to explore and get insight and value from data. And it's still an immensely powerful tool, but really it's focused on a use case for guided analytics. And guided analytics is where you've got a skilled BI developer, and that person will develop a QlikView dashboard and make that dashboard available to the end users. Enhancement to the QlikView platform really is the NPrinting that connects to those QlikView applications and allows you to draw out the information from that application, reshape it into a report, and distribute it to masses of people. And QlikView is still untouchable in terms of that use case. So when you do have a community where you want to give them guided analytics, and there's a lot of data that you want to visualize on the sheet, QlikView is still number one. But we can see that analytics has moved on quite significantly and quickly in the last few years. And there's a lot of new use cases. We find that a lot of our customers who've seen this presentation would say, if we had Qlik Sense available when we developed some of our dashboards, we'd actually use Qlik Sense for some of the use cases and keep some of the use cases in QlikView. There's a bit of a learning curve there to do that, and we typically then work with those QlikView customers to take one or two of those QlikView dashboards, use the conversion tool, convert those QlikView dashboards into QlikSense dashboards, and give the BI community as well as the end user a bit of a feel for what the capabilities of QlikSense versus QlikView is. So that is a process that we're happy to connect with you to help you through that journey of investigation to see what's right for you, what's the right mix. So that's the one aspect of it. The other aspect of it is what is the commercial implications of this. And so I've got a few slides that I just wanted to share with you guys, just to take you through those aspects of the discussion. And basically, there's two main routes that you can take. The one route is a remix route, and it basically says that I'm going to take my QlikView licenses and I'm going to remix some or all of them to QlikSense. This is a no-cost option that allows you to take your QlikView name cal and turn it into a QlikView QlikSense professional license, or take 4 QlikView doc cals and convert it to a QlikSense license. Sometimes when you're going to have a coexistence and you've got spare licenses, this is a good way to do it. So you can take some of those users, convert it to QlikSense, run the 2 environments, and either keep them both running, or if you feel that all of your use cases can be met with QlikSense, you can then remix all of them. The second option is, if you want to coexist, is actually an analytics modernization program, which allows you to have both. So we will take your existing QlikView licenses, so QlikView name cal will become a QlikSense professional, and a QlikSense doc cal will become a QlikView doc cal will become a QlikSense analyzer license. So if you had 10 doc cals, you'd have 10 analyzers. If you have 10 name cals, you'll have 10 professional users in that environment. And it allows you to use both of those licenses for the same users. So then you don't have to choose between QlikView or QlikSense, or you have total control over the pace that you want to move across as you figure this journey out. The terms of this particular analytics modernization program is that you convert your current maintenance stream to a subscription license. In other words, your perpetual licenses convert to an annual subscription license. There's no cost increase in this, and it's a 3-year commitment. So if this is something that you are looking at, certainly this would be a very compelling offer to say, how do we modernize our analytics platform and not necessarily spend a massive amount of data. You know, this QlikView to QlikSense is a great route to go, particularly if you look at the training components, the conversion components and tools that we've built in. It's your least disruptive way to move from where you are currently, or the QlikView platform, to have either QlikView QlikSense or a QlikSense platform going forward. There's some more details around the remix ratios, if you've got session cals, etc., also included here in this slide deck, and we'll be sharing the slide deck with you later. Any questions around your 2 options, whether it be remix or analytics modernization or a dual program? Correct. I think finally, I think in terms of a training there for QlikView developers, there is a course that is called QlikSense for QlikView developers, which is a 1-day course. A lot of the functionality is the same because we use the same Qlik Associative engine both in QlikView and QlikSense. So that bridging course is quite powerful to help you convert from your QlikView development skills into QlikSense skills. We also have a free introduction course, a QlikSense introduction course. It's a couple of hours online, and we'll actually sit with your team and actually develop a QlikSense app from scratch that allows you just to get a feel of the QlikSense platform. What is the same? What is different? It's a couple of design paradigms that's slightly different in QlikView than QlikSense. Right, that brings us to the end of our formal session. If there's any other questions, comments, please now's the time to ask. Well, if there's no more questions, we're going to wrap this one up. Thank you so much for taking out.
Sorry, Kev, there is
Yes.
a question from Oza. I think it maybe it relates to elaborating on how do you integrate or interface with third-party application, and if that's going to be covered. I don't know if that was actually touched in depth with regards to the the developer hub. So that's a question in the Q&A currently.
Is it?
Yeah,
Telco.
so from my side, it's going to have to be a separate session because of the intricacies, but the key components is the Dev Hub that are showcased. There's also what we call Qlik Branch. There's a lot of content on Qlik Branch, how to integrate Qlik into a specific app or into a third-party application. So I think let's take that offline. We can actually set up a separate session for that because there's a lot of details around that we need to cover.
Excellent. There's another question. So it's around the QlikSense for QlikView developers course. This is a classroom course, but we also have a instructor-led online course. We're just busy with our final testing of the platform. Once the COVID lockdown is complete, we'll be sending out the schedules around training, classroom training. But as I mentioned, we also do have opportunities to do instructor-led online training, much like this course. You'll have an instructor, he'll take you through the classroom material, do the exercises, etc., but all online. The other intro course, which is the QlikSense intro course, which is a free course, that is not for developers and it's not a training material. It's just sort of a workshop for you to get a hands-on feel for QlikSense. So much of the stuff that Rainer did, and some more detail where you connect with some data, create some visualizations, create stories, etc. We can also do that class online. So just reach out to your account executive, and they'll give you more details around how we do that. Any other questions? Don't be shy. We're all friends here.
Well, everything is taken care of on the chat session, Kev. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for supporting us on that, Sepa. Then again, thank you so much for blocking time out of your diary for this Qlik update session. I hope it was a valuable use of your time. I hope you've learned something. If there's any more additional questions, reach out to your AE. If you would like a repeat of this session, reach out to your AE and we'll set it up so we can deliver it to an audience within your organization. And we'll also be sharing an email with the presentation as well as a video link for you to review or share with people within your organization. We will be having regular update sessions. So if you found this one useful, please watch out for your inbox. We'll be having an update session webinar on NPrinting, as well as some of the newer additions to the family, which is the alerts, as well as the chatbots. Thank you. Cheers.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks all.
Thanks.